This happened about a year ago. I decided to rent out a spare room in my apartment. After my divorce, life felt so quiet and empty. I thought hosting Airbnb guests would bring some warmth back. My apartment was charming, in a lively part of the city with cafes and art galleries. I figured I'd meet interesting people. I never could have imagined what would happen. I learned my first guest had arrived when I heard them moving around in their room. I knocked on the door, and they seemed nice. I showed them around and went to bed, thinking everything was normal. But in the middle of the night, I woke up to noises coming from the guest room. It didn't feel right. I heard soft laughter mixed in with the sounds. My heart raced, but I brushed it off. I thought it was just snoring or maybe the old building settling. As the weeks went by, things got stranger. My next guests had odd habits. One of them kept gathering strands of hair from my bathroom. I found it later tucked away in an envelope in their bag. I still can't shake that image. I didn't want to say anything, but it made me feel uneasy. Another guest spent hours just staring at the wall. I could feel the tension in my stomach each time I saw them. One night, after my third guest left, I sat in the living room. I started hearing whispers. At first, they were really soft. My skin prickled. I felt cold. I thought maybe it was a neighbor, but when I looked outside, everything was still. Then shadows darted past my vision. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just a trick of the light. Still, it felt like something was watching me. I hoped I was just overreacting. Things escalated further from there. I'd be sitting on the couch and I'd hear my bedroom door creak open. I'd jump up to check, but no one was ever there. My heart raced and I couldn't shake that feeling. Sometimes I'd catch a glimpse of something moving in the corner of my eye, but found nothing when I turned to look. Then, one night, I heard the laughter again, louder this time. It came from the guest room. I wanted to walk in and confront it, but something held me back. I thought about calling the police, but felt embarrassed. I just stayed awake, clutching my blankets. Was it me? Had I changed? Then one of the guests turned to me and asked, "Why are you still here?" I looked towards the guest room, but I was alone. I stood there shivering. A wave of dread washed over me. I'm still not sure what happened in that apartment. It didn't feel right at all. I wanted to find answers, but I couldn't. I just knew something strange was going on. I wondered if I would ever feel safe in my own home again. The next day, I decided to take a walk to clear my head. I needed to think. Maybe a coffee from my favorite cafe would help. I stepped outside, hoping the sun would warm my frayed nerves. As I walked, I tried to focus on normal things. The street vendors, the laughter of children playing, and the smell of fresh pastries. Yet, the strange events replayed in my mind. My phone buzzed. It was a message from my last guest, asking for a review. I hesitated before typing, not sure how to express my discomfort with their presence. Then another thought crossed my mind. I realized I hadn't really greeted any of them after they checked in. What if they were reacting to my own unease? When I got home, I grabbed my keys but noticed the door to the guest room was slightly ajar. My gut twisted. I didn't remember leaving it that way. I approached slowly, heart pounding. I pushed it open, but nothing looked out of place. The bed was neatly made, and my guests' belongings were still in their bags. Then I noticed something on the floor, a small notebook. It was thin and worn, almost as if it had been held tightly. I picked it up and flipped through the pages. They were filled with messages, but not the typical kind. They were notes, sketches, and symbols I didn't understand. My mind raced. How could my guest have written all this? And why was it so strange? The last few pages were different. They described nights filled with whispers, laughter, and encounters that mirrored my own. I could feel a knot tightening in my chest. I thought I'd been losing my mind, but here it was. Someone had experienced the same things I had. As I turned to leave the room, the floor creaked beneath me. But it wasn't the floor. It was as if something was breathing in the space, waiting. I felt cold air wash over me, and a chill ran down my spine. I stepped back, instinct kicking in. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Suddenly, I heard the laughter again, louder and echoing through the hallway. It wasn't the soft laughter from before. This was harsh, mocking. I raced out of the guest room, but I wasn't fast enough. Just at that moment, someone stepped into my path. It was a woman with dark hair and hollow eyes. "Why are you still here?" she echoed, her voice a twisted version of the question I had heard before. I froze. I wanted to run, but my feet felt glued to the ground. Everything around me felt unreal. I wanted to scream, but the air felt heavy. Then she raised her hand and pointed toward the guest room. "They're waiting for you." And I knew I had to make a choice. I took a step back, my heart racing in my chest. I felt dizziness creeping in, the woman's gaze unyielding, eyes like dark voids that pulled me in. "What do you mean they're waiting for me?" I barely managed to whisper. She only smiled, a crooked smile that made me shudder. "You belong with them now." Her voice faded, mixing with the laughter that echoed around us. Panic surged through me. I turned, needing to escape, but the hallway felt different now. Longer, darker, suffocating. I sprinted back to the entrance, but every step felt heavier, as if the air was thickening around me. I could almost hear something whispering my name, calling me back. Then it hit me. The notebook. I had to know more. Maybe it held the answers I desperately needed. I hesitated only for a moment before forcing my legs to bring me back to the guest room. The woman didn't follow. Instead, her face twisted. In fear? Or was it anger? I couldn't tell. But she stepped aside, as if letting me pass. I stumbled back into the room, shutting the door behind me. I grabbed the notebook from the floor. Pages felt damp, somehow alive beneath my fingers. I flipped through again, focusing intently. Symbols, drawings, then something caught my eye. In the corner of one page was a small scrawled note. "Look to the mirror, it knows." I felt a chill run down my spine, and I glanced around the room. There it was, an ornate mirror hanging on the wall, reflecting the dim light. What could it possibly know? The laughter echoed again, bouncing off the walls. Was it coming from the mirror, or was it in my head? I approached hesitantly, heart pounding. The glass felt cold as I reached out to touch it. My own reflection stared back, but as I focused, something shifted. The image wavered, and for a horrifying moment, it wasn't just me looking back. I gasped. A figure stood behind me in the mirror. A man, face partially hidden, standing in the shadows of the room. A sense of dread washed over me. My hands trembled, and I pulled back. But the figure smiled, a twisted grin similar to the woman's, and I knew he was one of them. Panic surged again. "What do you want?" I shouted at the glass, half expecting an answer. Then the laughter erupted, louder and more chaotic, filling the room like it had a life of its own. I ran, desperate to escape the reflection and the darkness surrounding me. But the door wouldn't budge. I slammed my shoulder against it, adrenaline coursing through me. "Let me out!" I screamed. With one final push, the door swung open, and I stumbled out into the hallway. The laughter faded, but I could still feel those hollow eyes watching me. I caught a glimpse of the woman lingering at the end of the corridor. She tilted her head, waiting. Then, everything went dark. The world around me dissolved into shadows, leaving only the echo of laughter and a pressing silence that felt alive. And just when I thought I would lose myself in the darkness, a voice whispered, "You made your choice." I stumbled out into the hallway, disoriented. My heart pounded in my ears, and I braced myself against the wall. The laughter was gone, but the air felt charged with something, an unseen presence lingering close. I looked back down the corridor towards the guest room. The door slowly creaked open again. I hesitated, but curiosity pulled me back. Had I really seen that man in the mirror? I had to know. I took a cautious step forward, then another, and soon enough, I was back at the doorway. Peering inside, I was hit by a sudden wave of cold. The room was empty, but the echo of the laughter still felt present, swirling around my thoughts. I stepped inside, instinctively looking for the notebook again. The pages were still spread open on the floor, but I picked it up with unease. Something wasn't right. As I flipped through the pages, I felt a strange sensation, a tug in my gut. I looked up at the mirror once more. My reflection appeared unchanged, but I noticed something sinister creeping into the corners of the glass. It was like the edges of my reflection were melting away, fading into a misty edge that seemed to breathe and pulse. "Stop it," I said, my voice steadier than I felt, but the glass had a will of its own. Before I knew it, the reflection shifted again. The man was there, clearer now, his features more defined. He gestured towards the darkness beyond the mirror with a hand that seemed to dissolve into shadow. I blinked, trying to turn away, but my body wouldn't listen. I felt captured in this moment, caught between wanting to run and the undeniable pull of the man's presence. He leaned closer, and I caught his eyes, dark and swirling like storm clouds. "Come find us," he whispered, the sound weaving into the air. The words felt like ice in my veins, and I jerked back. I had to get out of there. I turned and fled the room again. This time, I didn't stop sprinting down the hallway. I could hear the silence behind me shift, like the laughter was building back up again, a crescendo waiting to burst. Just ahead, I saw the front door. I pushed through with all my strength, throwing it open and stepping into the cool night air. Breathing heavily, I looked around. The house loomed behind me, its dark windows staring like eyes. But then it hit me, a new realization. I hadn't seen any sign of the woman since I left the room. Where had she gone? Before I could take another step, I heard soft footsteps approaching from behind. I turned, my pulse racing. It was her, standing on the porch, silhouetted by the dim light. But she wasn't alone anymore. The man from the mirror stood beside her, his expression locked in an eerie smile. "You need to understand," he said, voice calm yet chilling. "You cannot leave." Panic surged through me again, and I turned to run, but there were more figures emerging from the darkness around the house, shadows taking form, shapes I couldn't quite recognize. I took a deep breath as dread wrapped around me. "Stay with us," they called in unison, a cacophony that echoed in the stillness of the night. That's when I finally understood. I was trapped. I didn't think. I ran. The grass crunched beneath my feet as I sprinted down the driveway, desperate to put distance between myself and the shadows that loomed behind me. I could hear their voices still calling out, growing fainter as I dashed into the street. Heart pounding, I turned to look back. The porch was empty now. No woman, no man, just darkness. But the feeling of being watched didn't dissipate. It hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. I needed to get away from the house, but I wasn't familiar with the area. My mind raced, searching for answers. What had happened? Why had that man appeared in the mirror? And where had the woman gone? I made a decision and started running toward the nearest light, the glow of a street lamp at the end of the road. It flickered weakly, casting long shadows on the ground. As I reached it, I felt a brief moment of safety. I paused, breathing hard, trying to calm my racing mind. Then I heard it again. A soft whisper, barely audible but unmistakable, brushing against my ear. "Come back." I turned sharply. There was no one there, just the stillness of the night. My heart raced again, fear creeping back like a cold hand sliding down my spine. I stepped back, bumping into something solid, a wall. I spun around and felt an icy jolt of dread. A figure stood right behind me, pale and translucent in the dim light. It was the woman from the porch, her features distorted, eyes wide in a ghostly expression. "You don't understand," she said, her voice echoing, overlapping with whispers from the shadows. "You have to come back." I stumbled back, heart pounding like a drum. "No, stay away from me." She reached forward, hand stretching towards me, but the moment she did, I bolted away from her. I couldn't think, couldn't reason. I ran again, but the road seemed endless, winding into darkness. I could hear the whispers growing louder, wrapping around me, enclosing me like a net. "Stay with us, join us," they chanted rhythmically, a hymn of despair. Then, in the distance, I saw a light flashing, a car approaching, its headlights piercing through the dark. Relief surged through me. I waved my arms, shouting for help, but fear clawed at my throat. What if they were like the others? As the vehicle drew closer, I took a step toward the road. The car slowed down, and the door swung open. A man stepped out, his face.
"Get in!" he yelled, urgency in his voice. I hesitated. The whispers behind me were almost deafening now, urging me to turn around, to return. But my instinct screamed to run, to escape whatever was haunting me. I didn't know this man, but I had no choice. I jumped into the car, slamming the door shut behind me. My heart raced as he accelerated down the road, leaving the flickering street lamp and its ghostly inhabitants behind. But as we drove on, I glanced back through the rear window. I gasped. The figures were still there, standing at the edge of the light, watching. The woman's eyes bore into me, filled with an unearthly sadness. "That's when I realized," I said to the driver, "they want me back." He didn't respond, but I could feel the tension in the air. I didn't even know where we were headed, but I felt the cold presence of those shadows lingering closer, even in the vehicle's safety. A new dread took hold. What if they followed? What did they want with me? And who was this man driving? My thoughts spiraled as we sped away into the night. I was free, for now, but I knew it was only a matter of time before the echoes of their calls returned to claim me once more. As the car sped along the winding road, I stole glances at the driver. He seemed focused, his jaw set tight. I tried to recall his features, but the shadows enveloped his face. "Who are you?" I finally asked, my voice trembling. "I'm just someone who knows," he replied, still staring ahead. His words were simple, but they sent a chill down my spine. "Knew what?" "You can't stay in the dark forever," he added, and I felt his eyes flicker toward me for just a moment. "They're not going to let you go." A knot twisted in my stomach. I wanted to demand more, but I was afraid. Afraid of what he knew and afraid of where we were going. The car jolted as we hit a pothole, snapping me back to my surroundings. The trees whizzed past like sentinels, tall and unforgiving. "What do you mean?" I asked hesitantly. "Who are they?" "Let's just say they have an interest in you." He glanced at me, his eyes narrowing. "And you've piqued their curiosity." I swallowed hard. My mind raced back to the woman on the porch and the man who had appeared in the mirror. Had I really provoked them? What do they want? I can't explain it now. Just know they'll come for you if you don't face it. Face what? My heart hammered as I began to feel that oppressive dread again. It was like a weight sitting heavy in my chest. How do you know? I whispered, searching for something in his expression. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pulled the car onto a narrow dirt road, the tires crunching.
On gravel, I gripped the seat, unease flooding me. The night was thickening, the darkness closing in, and every instinct told me I shouldn't trust the man beside me. But I had no choice. "Where are we going?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "To a place where you can understand." Just as he said that, the headlights illuminated a dilapidated cabin nestled in the woods. It looked abandoned, the windows cracked and the porch sagging with age. "This is it?" I asked, my throat dry. He slowed the car and turned off the engine. "It's the only way," he said. The urgency in his tone urged me to act, but all I felt was fear. As I stepped out of the car, the air was cool and smelled of damp earth. The whispers returned, floating through the air like smoke. My legs felt like lead as I followed him toward the cabin. I wanted to turn back, to flee into the woods, but the shadows seemed to ripple, urging me on. As we reached the door, I froze. "What's inside?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He turned to me, seriousness etched across his face. "Your answers. But remember, sometimes knowing can be more dangerous than the unknown." I was about to protest when I heard it again, louder this time, the call of the woman. "Come back," it beckoned, echoing through the silence. My breath quickened. With a sudden push, he opened the door, revealing darkness within. "Are you coming?" he asked, his eyes locked onto mine. I took a hesitant step forward, the weight of doubt clashing with the desperation to understand what had drawn me into this nightmare. Then, everything went dark. The door creaked open wider, and a surge of icy air clawed at my skin. I stared into the blackness, feeling as if the shadows were reaching out to me. I had to know what awaited inside. I took another step, the whispers growing louder, and stepped into the unknown. The darkness swallowed me whole. I hesitated, feeling a wave of panic flood through me. The air was thick with something I couldn't name. I glanced back, the flickering headlights of the car dimming behind me. "Just step inside," the driver urged, his voice steady and low. I forced my legs to move, each step an act of defiance against my instincts screaming for me to turn back. As I crossed the threshold, the door creaked ominously, closing behind me with a soft thud. Inside, I was met with the overwhelming scent of mildew, and my eyes struggled to adjust to the dim light. The cabin was bare, except for a rickety table and some chairs, and the faint outline of what seemed like a fireplace stood against the far wall. "Where are the answers?" I asked, hoping my voice would mask my trembling fear. He stepped further in, gliding through the shadows with an ease that unnerved me. "They're here. You just have to look." With a deep breath, I turned my gaze around the room. The walls were lined with old photographs, some depicting people I didn't recognize. Others seemed familiar, faces I could almost place but couldn't quite grasp. I found myself drawn to one photo in particular. It was a picture of a woman sitting on the porch of the cabin, her face shadowed, yet hauntingly beautiful. I felt an unsettling familiarity wash over me, like a long-forgotten memory bubbling to the surface. "That's her," I muttered, pointing. He followed my gaze, a flicker of something fleeting in his eyes. "Yes," he said slowly, his voice measured. "She was here long ago. She never left. A chill crept along my spine. What do you mean? You are connected to her, he replied. You were always meant to find this place. Before I could process his words, a sudden noise echoed through the cabin, a low creaking sound as if the very wood was alive. I froze, looking around. Did you hear that? He nodded, but his demeanor didn't change. It's just the house. It speaks sometimes. I felt the noise come again, louder this time, and a flicker of movement caught my eye at the back of the room. My breath hitched in my throat. For a split second, I thought I saw the woman from the photo, her dark hair falling over her shoulders as she slipped into the shadows. "Wait!" I called out, taking a step toward the dark corner. But as I did, the driver reached out, grabbing my arm. "Don't," he warned, his grip tightening. "You need to be careful. Not everything that lives in the dark wants to be found." I pulled away, frustration rising alongside my fear. "You brought me here. Why won't you just tell me what's going on?" "Because you need to face it," he replied, his voice strained. "You have to see it, feel it." "Feel what?" I shot back, feeling the weight of my own confusion weighing me down. But before he could reply, the air grew colder and an unnatural stillness fell over the cabin. That's when I saw it again, a glimpse of motion. Someone was in the house with us, and this time it wasn't just a shadow. I was not alone. The figure stepped forward, slowly emerging from the corner as if easing into the light. I could barely breathe. It was the woman from the photograph. Her hair was long and dark, framing her face like a dark halo, but her eyes held an otherworldly glow that sent chills down my spine. I took a step back. "What do you want?" My voice trembled despite my efforts to sound strong. She didn't speak, but her lips curled into a faint smile. It felt both welcoming and menacing, like she knew something I didn't. The driver remained motionless next to me, eyes fixed on her with a mix of fear and reverence. "Stay calm," he whispered. "Do not provoke her." "How can I stay calm?" I replied, my heart racing. "This is insane. She shouldn't be here." The woman lifted her hand slowly, as if reaching for something just beyond my grasp. In that moment, I felt a strange pull, a desire to step closer. I fought against it. Whatever bond we shared, I was terrified to discover its nature. "Finish what you started," the driver commanded, an urgency creeping into his tone. "You're the only one who can." I glanced back at the woman, who now seemed more solid, her features sharpening. "What do you mean?" I asked. "What started?" A sudden rush of images flooded my mind, memories that felt like mine, and yet were not. Laughter, whispered secrets shared in a darkened room, and a fire crackling in a hearth that looked exactly like the one in this cabin. I stuttered, overwhelmed by the flood of sensations, and the world around me blurred. "Focus," the woman urged, her voice echoing in my mind rather than in the air. "You must remember. Only then can you leave." With effort, I clenched my fists and fought through the haze. "Leave? You think I want to stay here? What happened to you? Why are you trapped?" Her expression shifted, becoming grave and pained. "Trapped? I am a part of this place. You are too." Before I could respond, a loud bang rattled the cabin, making both of us jump. The driver cursed under his breath, looking toward the door. "We need to go now." Panic surged through me. "No! What's happening? I can't leave like this!" I glanced back at the woman, who looked ready to protest. "You can't escape the truth," she said, her voice growing softer. "It will find you." Another noise erupted, this time a scratching sound against the windows. I could feel the darkness closing in, and suddenly the room felt smaller, as if the walls themselves were breathing around me. The driver moved toward the door, but I hesitated.
I knew we had to escape whatever was out there, but my heart pulled me back to the woman, to the mystery she embodied. I turned one last time. "Wait, tell me how I can help you." But her words faded into the echoes of the cabin as the driver yanked me toward the door. I hesitated, torn between the need to flee and the desire to understand. Then, everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the floor of the cabin. My heart hammered in my chest. The darkness was still there, but now it enveloped me as if I were inside a thick blanket. I pushed myself up, my hands shaking. The driver was gone. "Hello?" I called, my voice echoing strangely in the silence. I felt ridiculous, shouting into the void, but I had to know if I was truly alone. The air felt heavy, almost electric. I caught sight of a shadow moving at the edge of my vision, a flicker like a candle in a windstorm. I turned, my breath hitching. Nothing. I stood up, trying to steady my legs. The scratching sound hadn't ceased. It continued, now rhythmic and deliberate, like a creature trying to gain entrance. My instinct was to run, but I hesitated, unsure of where to go. I needed to find the driver. I turned to the door, but before I could reach for the handle, I caught sight of the woman again. She was no longer just a blurry figure. She was there, as real as anyone I'd ever met. Her eyes locked onto mine, full of urgency. "Help me," she whispered, the plea resonating in my mind. "Where's the driver? What do you want from me?" I shouted, frustration bubbling inside me. "Look in the mirror," she replied. Her voice echoed, creating a cacophony in my head, and this time it felt like a command. "Mirror?" I repeated. My eyes darted around the room until I spotted it. A small, dusty mirror hanging above the mantel, its surface clouded with age. I approached it cautiously, feeling the weight of her gaze on my shoulders. As I stood before the glass, I reached out to wipe away the grime with my sleeve. The reflection that stared back was mine, but there was something off about it. In the mirror, I didn't just see myself. I caught flashes of scenes. The woman in the photo, the cabin filled with ghosts of the past, and then a sudden jolt. A vision of the driver, resting against the wall, eyes wide in terror. I could hear him yelling something that echoed in my ears, but the words were lost. "What's happening?" I gasped. The woman's image flickered beside mine in the reflection, more vibrant. "You need to confront it. The truth lies within the mirror." Before I could react, a loud crash sounded from outside. My heart raced again, but this time it was not just fear, it was a sense of urgency. I turned to look out the window, but all I saw was darkness. Among the shadows, I felt a presence, something watching me. It was oppressive. Someone or something was out there, and I had no idea if it was friend or foe. As I turned back to the mirror, a wave of cold swept through the cabin. Something gripped my throat, tightening. I gasped for air, caught between primal fear and the strange pull of the reflections. That's when I saw it, lurking just behind my shoulder in the mirror. A figure, tall and twisted, watching with hungry eyes. I stumbled back, panic surging. I needed to escape, but escape from what? The truth? The darkness? And as the presence behind me lunged forward, everything went black again. I awoke, gasping at the sudden return of light. This time, the cabin around me felt different. The air was thicker, as if charged with
electricity. I sat up cautiously, blinking away the veil of disorientation. Where was I? I glanced around, but everything seemed unchanged. Faded wallpaper peeling at the edges, dust motes dancing in the sunbeams slicing through the window. I jumped to my feet. "Hello?" The tremor in my voice echoed, swallowed by an eerie silence. In place of the driver, the woman was there again, standing near the mirror. Her solid presence felt both comforting and terrifying. "You've come back," she said, her voice soothing yet urgent. "Where is he?" I demanded, panic endangering my bravado. "What happened to the driver?" "There's no time," she replied, gesturing toward the mirror with an ethereal grace. "You must confront it." "What do you mean?" I stumbled, taking a step toward her. "The truth lies in the mirror," she insisted, her eyes unwavering, full of an intensity that both frightened and intrigued me. "You have to see what you've been avoiding." I swallowed hard, thoughts racing back to the visions I'd seen, horrors hiding just beyond the glass. But I had come too far to turn back. With shaky determination, I moved toward the mirror, heart pounding like a war drum. As I looked into its depths, the initial reflection shifted. No longer just my face, it morphed into chaotic flashes, images of laughter turning to agony, of the driver pleading with a shadowy figure that filled my heart with dread. "No!" I gasped, the emotions surging through me like an electric shock. "What is this?" "Your past is entwined with theirs," the woman's voice broke through my frenzied thoughts. "You must face it to understand your connection." The reflections grew clearer, and I felt a rush of cold air, the shadows behind me emerging through the mirror like specters. Familiar faces twisted into looks of despair. The woman from the porch was among them, her expression hollow yet expectant. "Why are you showing this to me?" I shouted, wanting to rip my gaze away, but feeling rooted, unable to look away, as my thoughts spiraled deeper. "Because you need to break the cycle." Her voice rose above the chaotic whispers, now filling the cabin again, echoing with unresolved cries. "You're linked to this place, to me. You've always been part of it, and it's time to confront that bond." Suddenly, the darkness around me intensified, dragging me back into the whirlwind of reflections. I could feel their energy pulling at me, memories flooding my senses, memories I had long buried. I saw myself, a younger version, standing on that very porch, a child laughing freely, before laughter turned to screams, innocence shattered by the shadows that beckoned me. My hands shook violently as realization dawned. I was here before. I left, but you never really escaped, the woman affirmed, her tone a mix of sadness and resolve. You must choose to either embrace this part of yourself or run from it. I faltered, thoughts swirling, the gravity of her words anchoring me. I felt the walls of the cabin close in, like the shadows were waiting for my decision. I could run again, let fear dictate my actions, or dig deep and confront the truth that had haunted my every step since I first set foot here. Taking a deep breath, I leaned forward, allowing myself to immerse in the scene unfolding nearly. I called out, "I'm here. I understand now. I want to be free." Instantly, pain shot through my chest. The shadowy figures began to shift, retreating. Were they separating from me? Energy crackled and surged within the mirror, the warmth of self-acceptance chasing the cold grip of fear. But then I hesitated. What will happen to the woman, to the others stuck like her? The mirror rippled violently as the shadows began to pull away, as if I were having a say over my fate, and I felt my heart race. Would I leave them like this, trapped in a cycle? "Help us!" they cried, voices rolling together like crashing waves as their faces morphed from anguish to desperation. In that moment, a sense of belonging washed over me. This twisted trauma was a part of me. I had a choice to set them free. "I will not run away. I will help," I shouted into the depths of the mirror. The woman's eyes glistened, recognizing the intent behind my words. "Then step forward. You can break this curse." Resolute, I reached out to the mirror, my palm aligning with the darkened surface. As I pressed against it, the world around me blurred. A tidal wave of shadows crashed in, drowning me in new memories, ones I hadn't been brave enough to relive until now. I felt warmth, fiery and consuming, wrapping around me like a blanket. Then, suddenly, darkness enveloped me again. When I opened my eyes next, I was back in my apartment, the familiar walls holding me together. I gasped for air, heart racing. The room felt different, lighter, as though a weight had been lifted. I sat there, taking in my surroundings. Had it all been a dream? I was safe, alone, yet echoes of whispers lingered like a melody, a haunting reminder of the faces I'd seen, the connections forged. As I attempted to shake off the vividness, my phone vibrated on the coffee table. A text notification danced across the screen. My heart sank as I saw it was the review request from my last guest. I remembered their laughter, their hollow eyes. Did they find what they sought? Were they still out there? I closed my eyes, breathing deeply as uncertainty crept back in. There was no neat conclusion, no easy answers. The shadows had left their mark on me, and as much as I wanted to move on, a part of me knew I couldn't forget. I moved to a different city shortly after that, but sometimes when it gets quiet, I can still hear the laughter echoing in my ears, and I wonder what lies beneath the surface of ours.
Deepest fears. And if in some shadowy corner of another world they're still waiting for someone to find them again.